Our journey into Ubers is well underway, but it's time to get back into regular Scarlet and Violet draft with weeks number 4 to 6 of the Frost Battle League. We started this league 0-3 and not good at all, so we really have our work cut out for us if we want to make playoffs or even avoid relegation in this top league. If you guys are excited for today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We got a lot of great competitive Pokemon content that we bring to you and would be appreciated if you could do that. So let's get into the first game against the Hoodles. As I said, we're 0-3. We really need to pick up a victory here to kind of bring ourselves back on track. We see the Mousehold. We got the PM7 fans are here. And that's kind of a funny answer here to Spectre in this matchup. They've got a lot of interesting things going on with their team. Thundurus-T is one of the Pokemon I've really enjoyed using in draft. It is going to be their Terra captain in this battle, so it's going to be Terra Grass. And then they have some other interesting Pokemon, Wishcash, an LRXC favorite. Blastoise is actually a pretty decent spinner. You've seen me use it on the channel plenty of times before. Baxcalibur, a Pokemon I just think is bad. I mean, I don't know. Every time I've used it, it's failed me. And then Gouging Fire here to round out the team. So let's take a look at the team that I brought into this matchup. So looking into so this is the team I brought. I've got Mirror Herb, Nasty Plot, Spectre, and the reason I Mirror Herb here is because the speed boost from Thundurus-T can get copied by Spectre here. So I kind of expect one of his ways to check this Pokemon is to be after a knockout, is to bring an Thundurus-T to go for an IV Cudgel or a knockoff, and Mirror Herb protects against that. So I've Nasty Plotted up, I've got to +3, I got that speed boost. It is game over from here. We're modest just because of the speed tiers in this matchup, and the coverage is pretty simple between Draining Kiss and Dark Pulse here. We have Tinglu here, just generic defensive Tinglu. We need answers for that Gouging Fire here, and then we got Spike's Whirlwind just in case it starts setting up, gets out of hand, and our Earthquakes are not doing a lot. They should be doing a lot, but like there could be sets that just find a way. If I get burned or something, they'll need to Whirlwind away, and then Ruination just for some extra HP. But essentially, let's lock down the Gouging Fire, and let's get some spikes up along the way. Another big answer to these Pokemon, Terra Fire, Iron Hands, and with a lot of defense. So this is a really good way to handle both Baxcalibur and Gouging Fire here. And we're Terra Fire to 1, prevent being burned, and the typing actually does pretty well against our opponent's team. Also gives a good answer to Thundurus-T in this matchup. Revolt Switch is really not a good ground type. Like if you look over here at this team, ground type really just the Wishcash, which we should hopefully be able to deal with early on in this battle. Then we have Terra Poison Manaphy with a Charm, Scald, Ice Beam, Knockoff. I'm not really planning on tearing this Pokemon at all in this battle, but the Poison's nice just to have a way to get out of the weakness to Grass against the Thundurus if that situation comes up. But this is another way to answer both Baxcalibur and Gouging Fire with Charm and Scald. Really put pressure on those two Pokemon, and we're really defensive to help enable that. Uxie, another just like a look. We just have so many needs for defensive Pokemon in this matchup. On the physical side here, Foul Play really good against the setup sweepers we see. Then Pain Split, T-Wave knockoff with Rocky Helmet to punish Flare Blitzes and the like. And finally, we end up with Rindo Berry, Lycanroc Dusk, a Cellrock. If you look at Yehoodle's team, it's so powerful here in this matchup for Baxcalibur, for Gouging Fire. Does a pretty good amount to Ogerpon. We have a Rindo Berry for that Ogerpon, so allows us to go for a close combat and to lure that as well. So that's one of the other things really looking for in this matchup is, one, we want to lure that Ogerpon, either lure it with the Spectre or the Lycanroc, and then use our defensive backbone to prevent Gouging Fire and Baxcalibur from being able to take over this game. So let's get into the battle. We lead off with a Wishcash into Uxie. I go for the knockoff here just right away, see if I can remove an item, leftovers, etc., something of the like. And it's time to get into Manaphy here. I assume it's just going to try to set up hazards. I can threaten it out with Energy Ball, which I do here perfectly, and go for the knockoff, expecting kind of just, I guess there's not really a good switch into this. I was kind of half expecting Ogerpon to come in here because Energy Ball was so free. I think Ice Beam was just not a click that was going to make sense there, so I figured that'd be a good aggressive play and could have forced a tear out here early, but I get a knockoff on the boots, which will be super relevant if I'm able to get up rocks at any point in this battle. But I'm just able to go for the Charm here with my speed. Actually, not my speed, he just goes for the Dragon Tail. So that Charm kind of works out here. I take minimal damage here, and it kind of shown that this is going to be a much more defensive Gouging Fire than offensive in this battle. Really unfortunate here, have to take damage on my Spectrier. I'm just going to go into Tinglu to absorb any hit, and he goes Spectrier again. Oh my goodness. This is why you run odd HP, folks. Double hazard up. Always run out always run out odd HP on your Pokemon. But I've lost so much HP on this now, which means that like the bite from the Maushold is 100% killing at some point in this battle, which is super unfortunate. Really would have liked to have avoided that, but like I just keep getting Dragon Tailed out. They're getting that hazard pressure up. I miss a T-Wave. Like, what are we doing here? Oh, everything's just going wrong here. I'll at least get some Rocky Helmet chip, and now I finally get a turn with my Tinglu in front of this Pokemon. I go for the Ruination though. There's no way he's staying in Teeth this Earthquake. And I can Ruination, get fat damage off on something here. And getting fat damage off of the Ogerpon is great. This isn't exactly a Cell Rock range. I think we need a Spike to get up here to confirm that calc. And Ivy Cudgel here is just going to 2-hit KO my Uxie. Just really don't have a switch into this Pokemon long term. Especially without the Terra up here from my Iron Hands. I just go for the Drain Punch. I decide not to Terra. I still want to preserve the chance to Terra this Manaphy because where this Ogerpon is so powerful. I really need the option to be able to Terra in front of it and kill with Ice Beam if the situation arises. I know I really needed to be Fire here to take on Baxcalibur and Gouging Fire potentially, but that's just a risk I'm going to have to take for now in case he somehow... I mean, he was never staying in, but something I'll have to be mindful of. Now, Whirlpool comes out on the Manaphy. Finally, someone hits a Whirlpool against me in an SV Draft League game. I don't have Energy Ball. I'm just Ice Beaming here. We see the Bulldoze come out. It looks like he's really just trying to play me here to trap my Manaphy, and this is just not good news here. I go for another Bulldoze. Hopefully I outspeed at this point. Like at this point I'm praying like I outspeed, I just Ice Beam and kill, and wow, I outspeed, which is massive. That is a huge turn for me. And that I don't have to worry about this Wish Cache again, but wow, what a set. Double stack, Whirlpool, Bulldoze. In theory, should have been able to take something out. Probably the Tinglu is, I assume, what he was trying to get with this set. Like, this set would obviously, like, nuke Tinglu. I guess I could Whirlwind it out, but not after taking a lot of damage. Now in comes Ogerpon. Ogerpon, as we know, is the problem child. Goes for Stomping Tantrum, always killing there. Just a safe click here to prevent Iron Hands from getting too crazy. And now I have pretty free Volt Switches, honestly. I'm going to take a little bit from the Surf here to get this slow Volt Switch off onto the Blastoise, and I honestly looked at my team like, wait, I don't have anything good to go into here. I gotta go Tinglu and Earthquake. Like, surely I would have packed a better answer to that. Maybe I should have just stayed in and kept attacking with Drain Punch. Honestly, might have been better. I really wanted to preserve my HP on this Iron Hands, because Iron Hands is so critical to this end game. Like, Iron Hands should be able to handle the rest of my opponent's team. I just have to keep myself at high HP. Now Blastoise out the way, in comes the Ogerpon. I mean, I gotta let Tinglu go. It's the end of the road, Tinglu. I mean, there's not much Tinglu's gonna be able to do at this point. I bring in the Lycanroc. Lycanroc scares this out, kills with basically any combination of moves. I go over the Stomping Tantrum. I really figured he'd switch here. I guess I don't know why. I feel like I should have just Accel Rocked. I think Stomping Tantrum maybe, yeah. I should have just Accel Rocked here. I'm not really sure what I'm protecting against in this turn. I had this battle like in October, so I'm not going to pretend like I remember every single turn sequence. But yeah, Stomping Tantrum gets a little bit of damage, and I'm put into Spectre, so I guess it's now or never for Spectre. We got to see something here. I go for the Dark Pulse. I catch the Maushold. I go for the Dark Pulse again. If I get the flinch, then I'm going to town here with Spectre, but we just put the rest of the chip and damage on this Maushold. So a little bit unfortunate. That this Spectre set, like if I was like didn't take all that rocks damage early, like this rolls like 55-ish, 60. So that's unfortunate. I gotta bring in Uncle Mike here. Hope I live. Oh yeah, I'm just different. Agency dodge, the population bomb, and yeah, I'm at full HP. So that's going pretty good for me. I can get the Terra off to prevent any shenanigans from like getting willowed or burned. I go for Drain Punch, just try to keep myself at high HP, but you can see here the Morning Suns are coming out, and I am dealing literally 50%, which is not the best. He goes into Baxcalibur on this EQ, and I eat that EQ, but I get crit, and that makes some of these turns potentially pretty awkward against the Gouging Fire, which is not great. I'm able to get the Drain Punch and get a kill, but like if I didn't get crit, like I'm at 75 still, like 80. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Like Stomping Tantrum from Ogerpon is like really dicey. Like I have to Fire Punch here on this turn. Really not liking the position I'm at. My opponent does go for the protect. I just go for the EQ, try to get the kill here. Or try to force the kill on this Pokemon. As you can see here, like at this point, like one thing I have to be mindful of is I don't get stalled out of EQs. Like if you look, the Burning Bulwark, you can't see, has 14. I have 11 EQs left. So I actually have to really be mindful here not to get PP stalled out of Earthquakes. And you can see here, so the range is like 48 to like 52-ish. I go for the Drain Punch. This doesn't matter because I'm not going to get burned here because in the Fire type, another good reason to have Fire as your Terra for Iron Hands in this battle. But you see here, like I'm just throwing away EQs. I got to start Drain Punching here. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty peak in a minute with all these Burning Buzzwalks. And then the one time I don't, I Drain Punch, he puts me into this, which is hilarious. And then he goes for the Bulwark, and look why I Excel Rocked here and not Stomping Tantrum. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't got an answer for you. But Snowy clutches in the end. Stomping Tantrum kills, and we pick up our first win in the Frost Battle League. Wow, we needed one of these wins, that's for sure. After such a tough start to the season, we're 1-3. Hopefully, we're back on track for playoffs going into the second game of this video. So our next game is against Kanto Yellow. As I said, we are currently 1-3. Let's see if we can go 2-3 and get ourselves back in. A very interesting team on our opponent's side here. Sneasler, as I've been on record, this is one of the most broken Pokemon in Generation 9. I know people will say, oh, fraud, it gets wild, Yeah, Dire Claw is crazy. I don't know why we still allow Dire Claw Pokemon in this game, but hey, that's beyond me. We see Cress. Yo, shout out Cress. That's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. We're going to be doing a lot of old gens coming up next year, so you're going to see a lot of Cresselia really high on this Pokemon, a lot of generations. So, hey, if you like Cresselia, get subscribed for that. Dio Speed, really good lead in this matchup. One of the things like with Dio Speed, if you've watched OG Albina's BBR Championship, I would recommend doing so. I think Dio Speed gets a little bit of a bad rap, but you can see a lot of really good utility that you can get out of Dio Speed, especially as a lead and offensively. Definitely recommend watching that to get some perspective on that. We have Cyclizar, Toxapex, a classic stall Pokemon here, and kind of like does a lot against my team actually. I have Gothorita specifically for the Toxapex this week, and then Thundurus-T. So the team I've brought to combat this matchup is Nasty, Willow, Spectre, and the reason I have Willow is one, it kind of helps neutralize any Black Sludge on the Toxapex, and I probably should have considered Hex. Willow Hex would have been pretty powerful in this matchup, I think. You know, I was keeping Shadow Ball in the case that I wasn't able to spam Willow a lot in the early game, but probably Willow Hex would have been nice here. And then Boots just prevents nonsense like T-Spikes or like random hazards get set up by the Dio Speed. Very standard Tinglu here in terms of like what I've been doing all season. Spikes, Earthquake, Ruination, Stone Edge here for non-Terra Thundurus-Ts in this matchup. That's one of his Terra captains this week. I have Poison on my Iron Hands. Poison, not really an intuitive Terra type. If we look at the matchup here, it's decent. It gives me a good typing against Sneasler mainly is what the one thing I'm going for here is to have that Terra type against the Sneasler. And then just generic 4 attacks here with the Rocky Helmet. So really trying to punish Sneasler here with the Iron Hands. Terra Water, Manaphy, Tail Glow. Flip Turn allows me to just be bulky. Like I'm Tail Glow as like a secondary kind of mode on this Pokemon. And then Terra Water allows me to kind of go the Tail Glow angle if I need to, but otherwise it's just a defensive check with Flip Turn to absorb hits and get into Spectre and Iron Hands to deal damage. And also get into my Eviolite Gothorita to trap things if my opponent goes into the Toxapex. And this is just a set designed to completely wall all Toxapex sets entirely and remove that and then really open up my end game. And then we have Cobra Cloak, just another Sneasler answer here. You can tell my team's very geared towards Sneasler and not really geared towards the Terra Captain, which, as I said before, is Thundurus-T. Let's get into the battle. Within Manaphy, Manaphy's a pretty decent lead, even though it's a Tail Glow setter here. My opponent's just going to set up the Reflect. I go for the Flip Turn, so they are dual screens here. I'm able to go Tinglu here. Go for the Taunt, prevent me from getting up Spikes. We see the Terra types on our opponent's side. They have Fairy on their Thundurus, so that's going to be important to note later in the game. They're just going to go Hazards. I go for Ruination, just try to get some chip on this Pokemon. They get a light screen up. I go for EQ. Just trying to push some damage. Probably should have just Ruination again. They got up another Spike. I'm just Ruination. Like, this Pokemon's almost dead, and I've wasted a few turns. here. We got up a spike, though, of our own. Nasty plot. What do we click here? Oh, Ruination. Awesome. What a great click. what a genius play this was for me. Let's not whirlwind. Hey, let's not whirlwind with the obvious nasty plotter in our face with dual screens, right? No, that would be crazy. Oh, Grass Knot, yeah. Oh, Terra Blast doesn't kill. Nope, Grass Knot does. All right, goodbye. Goodbye, Tinglu. All right, Iron Hand, surely we just Terra, live some hits. Oh, wait, no. When we see Grass Knot, we should probably assume it's Thunderbolt, Terra Blast left, and he just Thunderbolts. It creates a 50-50. I don't know. It's a weird one, but I Terra and I die. So I assumed he would Terra into Fairy and Terra Blast. Yeah, I just threw this guy at the wall. This is not a good idea. Probably should have threw this guy at the wall first because he at least lives too. I get flinched here. That doesn't necessarily matter. And yeah, I could have just kept Uxie around. That would have been obviously preferable. But I'm able to get this guy in. I go for the Shadow Ball. I really consider just hard willowing this turn. I'm like, how do I get back into this game? I completely threw the entire early game for no reason. Just not whirlwinding. Should have known. This is why you bring, like, look, did I even have it on this set? Oh, I didn't. Oh, duh. I was going to say, well, I should have brought it then. Would have been a smart move. I wouldn't have been throwing in the builder. I should have hard willowed there to catch this. Because they go for the crunch, and when it's burned, like, I live these. And I'm able to get a nasty plot up. And go for a Draining Kiss here. And that would have given me maybe a little bit of a better chance here. Maybe ended this sequence a little bit higher HP. They go for the Dragon Tail, which is a little unfortunate. I still don't. I think the sequence would have ended the same as they just go Toxapex here. I go for the flip turn, get my Spectre back in. And this is where Hex might have helped in this specific sequence. I might have been able to Willow Hex this, but I get Toxic here by like the Toxapex, and it's just not going to work out. Shadow Ball does 70 here. I get the drop, but the Haze comes out. And, like, this thing is just going to be able to stall me for the rest of the game. And, dude, I don't know why I clicked Draining Kiss there. Bro, I still have... No, I know why I did. I had +2 in the calc still. I should have Shadow Balled. Like, oh, my gosh. You know what? You know, sometimes you just have those days, right? Where it just, like, anything that could go wrong finds a way to go wrong. Like, this was not... Like, I was not winning this game by any means. He probably had some sort of Scarf in the back. But, like... Like, he just, like, has Throat Chop on Sneasler. He doesn't die to +1 Shadow Ball, and, like, it's over. But, look, I got nothing for you on that play. I got nothing for you. We're just going to skip through the rest. I try to do something with Tail Manaphy, but, like, wow, that's 1-4, and that's pretty much the season over in terms of making playoffs, which is... Look, I mean, hey, you got to laugh at yourself sometimes. I've had... some pretty fortunate luck. I played pretty well. But like one thing I've noted is consistency has still not been there long term. And that's one thing getting into next year, really going to be a high focus on trying to be as consistent as possible. So we still don't want to get relegated in this league though. I probably am still going to try to play in this league next time out. And I'd like to still be in the top division. Obviously I've been getting myself beat around a little bit, but I'd like to play in the top division to continue my chance of improving. So let's see if we can get the next one and keep ourselves in the division. So our final replay here, you see our opponent here is, oh, I guess you can't see it. Top 100 on the Gen 9 RU ladder. Yo, shout out to RU. Of all the tiers I played a lot of, XY RU I think is probably up there. I've loved some of the older RU formats, but that's not where we're here. Our goal is to avoid relegation. And I think 3 coaches get relegated out of this division. I assume there will be some maneuvering of people who like drop and stuff, but our goal is to finish as high up as possible to keep ourselves in this division so we have the opportunity to play against this level of competition next time out. Let's take a look at the matchup we got going on here. We got Terra Necrozma. I'm going to just play this to get the Terra types. We have Terra Enam here, which is Terra Stellar. One of the only times we really see Terra Stellar is on these contrary Pokemon like Enam. And then we have Terra Fairy Hydrapple is the other Terra type on this team. So taking a look, the Enam is such a really broken Pokemon here. Cinderace is another good Pokemon. One I haven't used since NCP in Sword and Shield on this channel. something I definitely want to rectify. I really think this is a super cool Pokemon. I've always been on the record of really loving the quote-unquote point guard Pokemon, like these U-turn, powerful stab, general utility options. Cinderace is not one of the best ones. Obviously, like Greninja, Meowscarada, and even Ogerpon Teal are kind of becoming some of my favorite Pokemon for that reason. But I want to use Cinderace again, certainly. Necrozma, dude, Necrozma is a Pokemon, like, I just, as a player, I always find a way to lose to. I did it in BBR against Gentleman Thomas. I'd always find a way to lose to this Pokemon. Scizor, decent here in this matchup. I think this is not a great Scizor matchup. You kind of have to have it to get down with Lycanroc. Hydrapple's kind of nasty here. Like, Terra Fairy Hydrapple is actually really, really good against my team. I don't really have a good way to beat it. And then Muck, a Pokemon that has seen me get 6-0'd this year in the JJDL. Hey, but we still won that one. So let's take a look at what we brought for this matchup. So we're sub Nasty Plot this week. I like Substitute because there's a lot of like random Shadow Sneak stuff and Sucker Punches, like out of stuff like Muck, and Cinderace can just Sucker Punch you out of the world here. So Substitute gives you good counterplay into that, which is important. And then Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Draining Kiss is pretty standard on these Spectre sets at this point. Hey, we remembered our Whirlwind this time. I mean, these sets are pretty similar. One thing I wanted to do was try to be more... have a little bit more about the Tinglu sets that I was bringing in this league. I felt like I didn't do that in GBU. I feel like I haven't really done that as well either. I've brought some sets, but I like the Azumarill situation in week 2 where I just threw it away on turn 2. Didn't really get a chance to use that. And then I have another substitute user, Sub Iron Hands. And I like Sub Iron Hands here because, one, it doesn't function with the same Sucker Punch thing some of the other Pokemon, but really kind of just want to get subs up against a lot of these Pokemon. I want to sub up before like Necrozma comes in, before Enam comes in, before like Cinderace. Cinderace is not going to get aggressive on you, but like some of these Pokemon that can definitely get aggressive on you, like having Substitute up is going to be super, super important. And then Fire Punch, like for stuff like Scizor, and then generic dual stab coverage. Citrus Berry here, we're Psychic Noise because there is Regenerator on the Hydrapple that we are going to want to make sure we prevent from healing off because that Pokemon's going to be a problem. And then we have Encore for that Pokemon as well. And this is going to be our rocker for this week. Sub Tail Glow, like I'm just spamming sub against my opponent. I don't know if this is a good strategy to go into this game with or not. But I didn't really need the coverage on this Pokemon. Like Scald just like completely nukes our opponent's team. Like take a look at the build they brought. Especially if they tear out the Hydrapple, no Tail Glow Scald switch in this battle. So if I can get a substitute up, we are laughing. And then Life Orb, SD, Lycanroc to try to clean up in the end game. So let's go. Battle time. We lead off Uxie. Really want to get those rocks up. Unfortunately, my opponent leads Scizor, which means we're going to have to give that up. And our Terras here on our team, I forgot to mention them. We're Terra Water on Iron Hands, and then we're Terra Water on the Manaphy. We're never going to Terra the Manaphy, though, unless we have to. For an endgame sweep, we're just going to Terra here because we got a trade here. Like this, I think both players were happy with this trade. I was happy at the time because Enam is so difficult for my team to switch into long term. And for my opponent's side, Iron Hands is so difficult for their team to be long term. So it's one of those things where like you kind of feel like it's mutually beneficial for both parties to get something like that. Now, I make that play because I have leftovers. I'm still able to get a sub up at some point and leverage this Pokemon in the future. So I'm okay with that, but definitely good for my opponent as well. I think kind of one of those good for both sides moves here. I go into Tinglu here on the Muck, expecting some sort of, knockoff, and that's what we get out. We get Poison Touched, a little bit unfortunate, and we lose the boots. So pretty bad turn for a Tinglu there, as they just get a spike up. Really want to start pressuring a lot of the Pokemon on my opponent's team, like the Necrozma, the Scizor, the Muck, and the Hydrapple, if I'm ever able to get a Psychic Noise off. These Pokemon are going to really be a problem defensively. You really need that spike up to start pressuring. We see the Giga Drain come out here. Scizor comes out. And I think I just go for the rocks here. Yeah, get those rocks up. There's still a Defogger, and there's still the potential for Court Change coming from Cinderace. So I just get SD'd on, which is not good. SD Scizor is just a powerhouse in this matchup. I'm going to have to give it my Iron Hands because of it. I don't have a good switch in. I'm able to go into my Manaphy here, and this reveals to be Boots, so the value of my hazards not really coming to fruition here, as I'm able to go Uxie as we force a Terra, to prevent the Ice Beam. But I'm going to have to Encore this Pokemon, which, hey, is good for me. This Pokemon's now not a problem. I'm able to get a free knockoff here onto the Cinderace, except I don't take it. I go for the Psychic Noise. I should have, I mean, like, going for the Psychic Noise here, I mean, it pressures something like the Muck, which doesn't really help, but knockoff here would have been so much nicer to hit, like, an aggressive Cinderace trying to get rid of these hazards, because now it's going to be able to Court Change for free without getting punished by this knockoff. Like, I take the knockoff the next turn, but if I knock off into just hard out, into something like, I guess I don't have a good hard out there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think going for the Psychic Noise is not necessarily the most optimal play here. Knockoff early would have at least given me some more options, but now I'm in a really tough position because I got the hazards on my side. I don't have anything pressuring their team. They got boots anyway, and they're able to just start SDing up again. And my Manaphy is not an answer long term for this Scizor. I'm able to Whirlwind here, live on just enough HP, but I have to start leveraging my Spectre to start breaking this Pokemon. And we see Boots come up from Muck, so I'm not even getting any value out of my hazards. Just good Boots brings by my opponent, just recognizing that that's just going to be how they're going to be able to beat me in this battle. I go for the Substitute here, trying to catch someone on Overplay on a Sucker Punch. I think is my best out to trying to get value against this Pokemon, especially where I 2-hit KO. I'm just going to lose my Spectre here, and the wheels just fall off at this point. Just running out of tools and running out of resources here to actually be able to win this game. I try to set up the Tail Glow, see if I can get going here. As long as I don't get poisoned, I'm in an okay spot. Because like this Tail Glow is killing now, so I'm able to break this. But the problem is they're going to be able to go Hydrapple here. Are they even going to be able to go this? Which this one was interesting to me because I lived all hits. So I was really surprised they went that and not just go into Hydrapple immediately. As I'm able to pick up the Necrozma. So like this endgame is half opening up. The problem here is now this is just able to kill this. I had no Rocky Helmet in the back to prevent this with Uxie, and now Scizor is just going to be able to clean up the rest of this battle here. I go for the knockout, but like they're just going to be able to either SD. Yeah, they just go for SD, and it's over at this point with the Bullet Punch. So 1-5, hey, not a great season by any means. I feel like the classic. I'm either going 1-8 or like going like 2-7 or like 7-2. It's just kind of all over the place. As I said, the big focus for next year is going to be consistency, but that does not mean this league is over yet. We have 3 more battles. We're 1-5, not a lot to play for, but keeping ourselves in the Mythic division for next season. That is super important. That's what we're playing for. If you guys enjoyed today's Draft League Showdown video, make sure to like, subscribe, let me know what you would. And so that is the video. So there you have it. That is the game. So there you have it. Those were our games in the Frost Battle League for weeks 4 to 6. We got week 7 and 9 coming up soon, hoping to stay in that top mythical division. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more competitive Draft League content. As I said at the start, we do a lot of good content here. Been really enjoying the content I've been putting out recently and the support you guys have brought. You know, I think we've got like almost 120 new subscribers in the past 3 to 4 weeks. Unbelievable support. Really appreciate everyone coming out and showing up for this Pokemon Draft League content. So we'll see you all in the next video, and as always, have a wonderful day.